been a very long time since I posted anything for Disarray, and that's because I just come off of no SB2, played some hard and very difficult and long maps, and I wasn't sure what to play, and then I got to this level, and I was like, this is a monster. I don't know if I could get into it. So in case you're interested in trying it yourself, just be aware we are playing MBF21. So just keep that in mind. And to me, this really harkens back to the classic slaughter maps of old. Kind of like Go To It, where you're getting more and more space. So if I could, the map's not going to help. Basically, there's this enormous area, and cybers are sniping everywhere, and it's just not reasonable to fight them at the moment. But there are areas we can clean out. It's not really arena battles. There are arena battles scattered throughout, but to me the crux of this map is clearing out areas, getting more space, just like in the old school slaughter maps. Like, as much as I like that the Fractured World levels are interconnected, a lot of them wouldn't necessarily change that much if they weren't. A lot of them would. Maybe that's a bad example then. Maybe Sunlust map 30 is a good example. I mean, that's already pretty isolated. Well, you know what a closed-in arena fight looks like compared to this, right? I'm running across the entire area, hoping stuff in fights, but ultimately I don't really care that much. It might be possible to get these guys with rockets. It definitely is. But the rocket seems to clip on the side and doesn't really do enough damage to me, so I'm just going to shotgun them. So the way the progression works, clear these guys out so you can safely go up the elevator. You go up the elevator, you hit the switch, that opens up a door just behind the archviles, and then you hit a switch in that area, it opens up the key, you grab the key, you drop down into that water area we were at before, and then you open it up more, you open up into a secret area there. And then it opens up even more, and then there's an arena fight. But even though it's an arena fight, you can still get sniped by the old enemies. You really got to be aware with this one that he doesn't revive an arachnotron into your rocket, and then you explode. And only then do you unlock a new area just outside of this well. So. Oh, by the way, if you're like a genius map maker or a code knower, that arachnotron I just killed, it died in 2 rockets like half the time. If you know why that is, please tell me. I don't know why that arachnotron was so weird. Anyway. This could be like an arena fight where I hide in that room, but instead I just drop down here, because the overall design philosophy of this level is to be really open, like those old classic maps. But it doesn't fall into the same trappings that they do. So in a lot of those really large classic levels, you could clear out a good spot, and then you're spending the rest of the level sniping from there, enemies bottleneck to it. And to an extent, I will do that in this room. To an extent, I will run from fights because they're not arena fights. Like, I didn't stay on the top floor there, but then I dropped down here, and there's still stuff. There's still combat, and I have to fight my way back up. So it lets those same strategies work, but it no longer feels cheap. So I don't know how much of a deliberate homage to those classic levels this is, but it really feels like what they should have been a lot of times. Actually, I'm not going to skip ahead. This is very easy, but the movement's still kind of cool. You know, anytime there are revenants, it's interesting. Oh, and I kind of like the less excessive use of Revenants in this map. By all means, I'm sure they're in the top, like, 4 most common enemies, as always. You know, Imps, Pinkies, Revenants. So I guess top 3. But it doesn't feel as excessive as usual. Oh, and I did get all of the video, like the recordings of me using the different BFGs, though I might redo the classic Doom ones. I don't know if I liked how those turned out. Anyway. This room is a good example of how the map has more than enough ammo. It's almost impossible to run out. But each section, it's spread out. There are a couple rockets up there, there's some rockets down here. But it's not, you get your ammo at the start, and then you're good to go. So, a lot of times I'm scrounging around mid-fight. But that doesn't mean that I'm, like, being inefficient. Well, I probably will be inefficient, but... The idea is, it's not about the ammo management in terms of how much you use per enemy, but how much you can clear enough space so you can get to the next bit of ammo. And of course, you know, skipping those cyber demons at the start, because we can't deal with them yet. So when you hit all 4 of these switches, that whole, can you see my cursor? No, I can't see my cursor. Behind that mancubus, that hole, I had to climb up there to get the cyber demon to spawn and the rest of the enemies and open up these switches. So now when I hit all 4 of them, it opens up the back wall, and that's when I can get away from the cyber demon. You can clear out all the stuff and kill the cyber yourself, but it makes things uncomfortable, and I'll talk about why when we get to the part where it pays off. And I do try leaving that rad suit. We'll come back to it in a little bit. So this area is where I circled around at the very start, but now we're actually going to clear it out twice. So there are the enemies here now, but once we go down in the center, we get some blue armor and plasma and a backpack. Huge boost. All 3 of those items are really powerful. A lot of paint elementals are going to spawn, and specters. Great combination. And that's when we're going to use that little outlet where I saved the rad suit. Or I guess I'll use it now, and I'll use a different rad suit at that point. So, I'm still clearing out these fellows. I don't really like not having any armor, but you know, no revenants. It's reasonable to not get hit. Every single time I dodge a revenant missile, every time I roll a 0, that's when I think of SoBad's video. I'm like, wow, before I watched that, I did not dodge correctly. Even stuff like that, where you approach the revs at a fairly straight angle, and you move away slowly. Anyway, that was indecision. What I should have done is backed off immediately, rather than trying and failing to get the plasma, but it's better to change plans to the good one than keep failing the bad one. So when I grab this, the pains spawn. I remember in my first few attempts, I tried rocketing these guys because I always feel bad about using the plasma, but I think some of that plasma angst, because you know, using the plasma is measurably inefficient. you do less damage per cell compared to the BFG. Straight up. It's not as strong per ammo. But it's better that you survive the fight. So I think some of my plasma angst is leaving a little bit. And maybe that's because I've been playing these, I suppose, action horror games and non survival horror. You know, RE4 and Dead Space and Evil Within. And it's like, wow, it's okay to use weapons before you fully upgrade them. You gotta survive. And even then, you're probably gonna max out your ammo sometimes. Anyway, now that we grabbed that, these specters show up, and you see the imp wall, the little brown on the left, or the bigger brown on the left. I'm gonna be dropping down from there later. That's why I'm being so careful to kill all the specters now, because I don't want to get infinite heighted. You know, strategy you would not need to do on GZ Doom. But we are on MBF 21. It's only 2021 when this engine was made. And there's a rad suit I saved from earlier because I knew I would be here. Also, the new DSGA version, really good with specters. It looks great. I still don't like specters, but they look a lot more visible. Alrighty. So I'm actually not sure what the intended strat for this fight is, but I make sure to have a rad suit for here so I could just drop in and easily kill the cacos. I actually think this is a good, like, practice spot for, you know, like, So Bad made their little Revenant hallway, and that's a good way to practice fighting revs. I think this room is a good way to practice fighting cacos with the rocket launcher. Because when you hit a caco, they like fly away. So usually you have two ways of doing it. Either you shoot one caco. I'm preferring the pain chance here with my plasma. That's why I'm using the plasma now, right? And I'm sticking to my strategy. Either you shoot a caco that's right next to another one, because when a monster pushes against another monster, there's no push action. The only thing that might happen is their AI determines they hit a wall and try turning around. But it's the damage that pushes. So the one in the front can't actually go anywhere because the one in the back blocks it. Okay. The other way to do it is you shoot one caco and you immediately switch to another, even though they take 2 shots to kill, usually 3 if, you know, it's... But then you're letting them slow down before you go to another one. And that's what I tried to do in that fight. I know that, like, feels bad. You know, if you've played a lot of other shooters, you know, you're some pro Counter-Strike guy or whatever, you're used to your free look, you can lead your shots just fine. That's just not how it is in Doom. Auto-aim is only going to happen if you're doing it, like, right on target. I don't think vertical auto-aim triggers on enemies where horizontal auto-aim would. Actually, I need to check that out. I'm curious now. Oh, there, yeah, right there, it did. Okay, but I don't want to rely on horizontal auto-aim. So, it's really inconsistent. Anyway, those imps I killed is because I'm going to drop down, like I said before. Why I killed those specters, same reason. So, now this area is opened up. It actually opened up a little bit earlier, but this is the first time it's useful. So, we got a lot of enemies here. I don't want to deal with them now, so I'm going to drop down, finally clear out these vials. And you want to make sure you go on this pillar the way I did, on the left. If you're on the right, Cyber Demon might hit you. Because remember, we're in a classic style map. Cyber Demons have eyes all over the area. Anyway, it might feel bad to say, hey, I can't lead my shots. Like, physically, this game doesn't allow me to do that on airborne targets. I just need to let them float away. Or line it up, like, so perfectly. Like that caco, I wouldn't have been able to hit him while he was floating around, but now I can. Okay. So these Revenants and cacos defend the BFG, and also 3 Megaspheres. Of course, when you pick it up, there are going to be 3 Archviles and 3 Cyber Demons. But there is a BFG and there are 3 megaspheres. I might actually try after and put a little thing in the description. I don't think you need the BFG to clear the map. At least in terms of a no monsters run. I do think the BFG is required to do the fights. I'd be really surprised if anyone could do these fights later on without the BFG. Some of them are pretty crazy. Maybe. You know what? Maybe you could. Maybe you could. I don't think it would be viable in like a half-hour run, but I think it's possible with saves and loads, just thinking about it. Anyway, I'll speed this up a little bit. So the real reason I'm doing this isn't really to kill these cacos so much as get them away from the BFG. But I might as well, right? And this is why I cleared out all those specters from earlier, because I'm going to be dropping down in the hallway to the right. If there were enemies here, we'd have some infinite height issues. It is possible to deal with, it's not that high. It's bad time, and if there are too many, it's not going to work. So now I'm just getting a feel for how many cybers are left, how many happen to have died from infighting, you know, that sort of thing. And here we go. Get that BFG. Get that megasphere. Hope you don't die. Be careful with the archviles. And get away. So, the Arachnotrons can see me way out on this hallway. Because, like I said, classic style map. Enemies not really in the fight can still see you from across the level. I'm glad that Cyber Demon turned into a Meg. Because he's really the most annoying one. Yeah, 3 Cybers, usually 1 is over here and 2 are over there. This is like the bad thing that could happen. Optimally, I kill 1 or 2 of the Cybers, and then this one deals with most everything else. I get the vials, and it's all pretty. But the Cybers didn't play nice, and the Arachnotrons weren't playing nice. So it's like, alright, I'll just head back here, get everyone clumped up, and hopefully that goes okay. The longer it goes on, the less likely you'll be able to BFG everything, but the more likely the Archviles and Cybers are going to have a hard time in fighting. Archviles actually cannot revive each other in this map. I know. What a novel idea. Because I've been playing so much of No SP2 and 3, that feels like the normal state of affairs for me. But now, hey, even if there are Archviles, you let stuff infight, the Archviles are going to die eventually. Yeah, it's cool to see that. Cool to see that Cyber explode. Yeah, just trying to figure out where the enemies are. There's so much can happen while you're getting all the way around. And notably, when I'm in that sort of hidey area, a bit of a trope of those classic maps. It's not an instant win, oh, I'm just going to rocket everyone area. Because enemies get caught in the stairs over here. Some enemies don't really like climbing up the small stairs and getting close to you. There are still a lot of enemies left. And not to mention, I don't actually have enough rockets for that. Especially with Cybers. Always checking these Arachnotrons. I mean, you get hit by 1, it's not that bad. But maybe 1 or maybe 2 or 3 attacking you at the same time, and then you don't notice in time, you get pelted, and then you're dead. Remember, we only have 200 here. It's not no SP3. But looks like we've cleared it out. I'll just fast forward this bit. No! No! That was cool. Why'd I fast forward it? Whatever. I don't know how to go back. But we'll see more of that later at the end. So these manx open up the area to the exit. Of course, you know, 15, 16, 17, 1800 enemies left. We're not actually, wait, more than that. 2800 enemies left. Not actually the exit yet. The door won't open, but it'll be the exit area. By the way, this is only the second map in Disarray that I've played. I don't know if the spider demons have splash damage. I think they do. Not 100% sure. I think they do. Because if spider demons don't have blast damage, they should die in 15 rockets. But it seemed like it was taking me more than that. So I'm not 100% sure. I think they do. Oh, and also, as you can see, they are a lot different. They're basically super arachnotrons. The reason I think they do is, one, it's taking the normal amount of rockets, and two, they don't drop a clip. So, usually what No Reason did in No SP2 and No SP3, he made the thing that looks like a spider demon. It was actually a dehacked Wolfenstein SS, so it would drop a clip and no splash resistance. But this is MDF 21. It's not a speed map, so I guess he had time to mess around with the dehacked. I think that's the regular dehacked spider demon. But if you know for sure, yeah, let me know. So, those Revenants, like I said, classic style map. They are going to snipe us, so let's just deal with them. There are really only 3 fights in this map that are these hardcore arena fights that I had to practice a lot. The rest of it was, well, I just got to do a lot of runs and feel out what the best route is. I can't just practice that isolated room. And this is going to be one of those big fights. First off, I'm going to be making sure it actually is an isolated fight by sniping anyone who could be sniping us. Make sure the revs are gone. The Archviles actually won't attack us here, because Archviles have limited range, except Pain Chance. Obviously, it won't Pain Chance them for no reason. So, the reason I'm getting them is because I'm going to be going there later. Might as well kill them now. I've had runs where the Archviles just zap me and then I'm dead. Yeah, if that was no blast resist spider demon, it would have died. Okay, I do want to kill that one. It can hit us. The one on the left isn't really as big a deal. It won't really get us. But let's do that big fight. So there are 2 to 3 waves depending on how you count. So when I hit the switch, there are going to be revs beyond me after the gate that opens, and a cyber demon is going to spawn right here. I find it's best to go right next to the revs, then run back. And I just get them to fight a little bit. And to be honest, I tried a lot of stuff. One being clear out everything except the cacos that spawn that I forgot to mention. Or just let stuff infight and move on. Or just deal with the cyber demon. I never really figured out which strategy was best. To me, it felt more like you need to react to what happens. And in this case, it went really badly. I was taking a ton of damage. The cyber demon wasn't cooperating. I'm out. I'm just running. I didn't even hit the switch and run back to the other 2 cybers that spawn when you hit the other switch. I was just like, I need to leave. And, you know, I've had a lot of runs in there. This is where we're going to get like 2,000 enemies. It's actually not as bad as it looks. It's fairly manageable. With that said, I have died here. But, you know, it's a doable fight. You know, as always, you have to shirk those, oh, pinkies don't scare me mentality. Pinkies don't have that much health. They take up a huge amount of space. You gotta go for them first. I really made use of those bar things. In my practice, I didn't really use them that much. Man, I just got smacked by a rocket. 42 health is not a good amount. It means I die in one orange file hit. If I had 43, I'd survive. So each of those spider demon areas have one mega. If you go past those big bars on this side or the other side, the archvile can hit you, but I got lucky. This was also lucky. I could have gotten smacked by like 8 cyber demons there, okay? I got some luck to occur. There's the other mega. And now that the area is cleaned out a little bit, I can choose, okay, do I go up for the archviles and risk getting smacked by a cyber demon? But that gives me access to a lot of megaspheres. Or do I just go up the stairs where the chain gunners were and hit the switch? There are 3 switches, and you hit all of them, the cyber demons go away. An advantage of MBF21, that they could do that insta-death thing for the cybers. I don't even think they get telefragged. I'm not sure actually how it works. Maybe the floor turns into an insta-death floor for cybers. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't know how No Reason did it. This is another lucky moment. I got stuck on a flying enemy. So here I am, like, alright, let me get these megaspheres. There are enough megaspheres that, even though it's 8 archviles, you can take a megasphere as you go along, be smart about taking cover. It's better to risk... It's better to get hit by an archvile than it is to risk getting hit by a cyber demon. So, every time you're standing still, you're risking getting hit. Alright, that switch takes care of the cybers. Though at this point, I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a break. So I finished off the Hell Knights. Even though I think the optimal run in terms of risk efficiency, like I want to do all the risk as early as possible so I can do faster resets, you would just go to the next fight right away. Oh, also these 6, it's not 6, not 8. These 6 archviles, they're on pillars, which makes them far less aggressive than usual. You could, in theory, get unlucky and them actually be more aggressive than usual. It's very rare. When enemies are on pillars like that, they're far, far more likely to be less aggressive than usual. I mean, don't count on it. Like, you need to be ready, but factor that into your movement. Like, if those were free roaming vials, I would have no chance when they're all spread out like that. Unless maybe I did some pre-firing stuff. But alrighty. Let's do the part that the last very difficult arena fight. The Archviles. I posted a clip of this. It's not the same run. It wasn't even a run when I did it. It was saves and loads. This was the only consistent strategy I found. It's 12 Archviles on each side. Very specific there. Get your pre-fire, do one pre-fire, and then you pre-fire to the side, and then you just gotta win. This also didn't go well. I was supposed to kill all 12 on the one side before moving over. And then the remaining 12 really aren't that bad. You're probably gonna get hit once or twice, but they're gonna come at you slow enough that you get your direct BFG hits, you run away when you have to, you don't worry about ammo, you just win. Alright, it doesn't matter if you have 0 ammo at the end, it matters if you have 0 health though. So, that went fairly well. Or you could argue it went fairly well because I survived, but it actually went fairly poorly compared to successful practice runs, where I like wouldn't get hit, the 12 at the start would all die, you know. This was another reason why I didn't really practice. I didn't really do attempts for this until fairly recently. Those archviles, I could not figure out what to do until like 2 days ago. And also these revenants. I spent so much ammo on these revenants because there are a lot of them. And then after this is cyber demons. So it just seemed totally unreasonable. But then I was like, wait, just spawn in the cyber demons. Oh, obviously. And then they fight. There's more than enough space. I know it's kind of scary at the start. It doesn't usually happen where the revs run in my way. I mean, every now and then, you know, whatever. Punch through. It's not that bad. Like, that amount of revenant blocking is the max you really get. Alright. So, we've hit enough switches. The cyber demons are here. And they'll easily kill all of the revenants for us. And while they do that, we're going to run away. And as the revenant numbers dwindle, we'll work on the cyber demons, like, on the edges. Those are actually the most threatening ones. You know, if you're circle strafing, you want enemies inside the circle, not outside. This is where I'm using a lot of audio here. I'm listening for shots, I'm looking at the cybers in front, I'm listening for the ones behind me, I'm using the revenant behavior to determine who might be getting attacked. It's not 100% with revenant behavior, but it's a clue. So most of these aren't too bad. You know, they have a good amount of wall beside them. You know, do the shoot the wall, pop in front, no big deal. But that one I just passed, the wall next to him is so small, the timing is a little bit different. And I could never really get that timing down. So it's going to take me so many BFGs just on that one cyber. But I'll speed it up because I'm embarrassed about that. And also I don't need to waste your time of me strafing in a circle for 5 minutes. Instead, I'll just do 2.5 because I'm speeding it up by about that much. So that's about it in terms of really difficult stuff. The next area, you know, I practiced it a bit, you know, and by all means I didn't do it the way I did it in practice. I just did it in a safer way. It's really not too bad. So, you can continue on to the left, hit the switch. I don't really like doing that yet, because let's just do all the actual fights. And get ammo, make sure there are no enemies below me so I don't get infinite heighted. You know, let's just be careful. We're 35 minutes in. You know, if you're still watching this video, nobody watches the 35 minutes. So, last major fight here. Really the only tricky part is the spider demon at the start. And not getting too aggressive. And, you know, the chain gunners. You gotta make sure those guys are gone. Like, it's worth shooting a BFG for one chain gunner rather than switching weapons and trying to be super efficient. Just survive. So we got this big stairway thing. Really the only way this goes wrong is if you're either A, too aggressive, you're too far into the horde of enemies, uh-oh, there are Hell Knights in front of me, and there are Pain Elementals behind me. I'm stuck. And then a Cyber Demon explodes you, because you gotta stay on the move here. And the other way is you're not aggressive enough. I haven't made enough progress forwards on the stairs. I've run out of ammo, but the ammo's up there. I can't get there because I'm out of ammo, and to get up there I need to get through stairs. And that's why, you know, you want to do that movement there. It's fairly easy, this area. It's the last area you're going to do, so be careful. Oh, and the other thing that can happen, when you go up to the Cyber Demon cylinder, when you hit the switch, the Cybers die, so you can head up there. Head on this side with the teleporter. That's where the stairs are. And don't get overexcited. Kill the Lost Souls first. Like I said, this area is not hard. You're probably doing it last, though. Be careful. Don't do anything stupid. That's really it. And that's about it, you know. Interesting level, because it really makes me think of those classic Slaughter maps. But it doesn't really run into those same issues. Yes, it's very long, so necessarily it's going to be grindy. But it has a better balance between arena fights and the long-range enemies who snipe you. And it's not like, okay, you need to grind out sniping them. Alien Vendetta. It's a couple of them. And running away from a fight isn't an instant win. It might be advantageous, but you still need to play it. And there is definitely too much ammo on this map in terms of how much you need and you get. But it's partitioned in a way where you never have, like, too much at a time. And the way different arenas interact with each other, you need to be smart about clearing out enemies, which ones. So I think this one uses a lot of the tropes of those classic maps without falling into the trappings. I don't know if I'd recommend this 40+ minute long level. Maybe, I don't know. It's a weird one. But alright, let's just put it on. Let's just hit the switch, and then I'll fast forward through the little cleanup, which isn't even that long. You know, you'd think for one of these enormous, sometimes you run away from enemies levels, the cleanup would be really long, but there are only a few enemies I left behind. I assume you'd be real careful on the way down. Yeah, I peek there, and then I go to the other spot, and I was right, there was a Baron. Some of that is audio, some of that is getting a feel for how the enemies move. Most of it is audio, I think. Hard to say, more or less. I don't know why I'm collecting chain gun ammo. Why would I do that? It's hard not to, you know? You see an item on the ground, and then you want it. And be careful the cybers don't snipe you. That's why I'm trying to move quickly here. They're far, so they won't shoot frequently. So now that both of those switches are hit, we can either exit, which I never actually exited at all in practice runs, and you'll see me almost die when I get to the exit. Or you can go this way. So remember, I ran away from all three of these cybers. Remember earlier I fast forwarded through doing this, and now we get to see it. Now we get to see me try doing the same cyber kill on the stairs, and it'll be perfect, no mistakes, it'll go completely fine. What was that, man? Yeah, I don't want to deal with that last cyber upstairs. There's one more, unless I've got 200. So let's just Get that mega. So you might have noticed I haven't really been posting the demos as like a separate video. And the reason for that is nobody watches those. I have them on unlisted, and I just put a link in the description of the main video. And to me, that was always just, I want to document that I did it. But that's kind of what these are. And I have the demo. Like, I have that file. I own it. It's on my machine. So I don't know if that's necessary. I'll consider it, but it does take a while. It does take a while to produce those demo videos. The computer has to, like, work on it for a while. So yeah, a cool map. I genuinely did have almost 45 minutes of things to say about this level. Pretty impressive. It is interesting. Like I said before, you're not practicing the fights. Oh, those rad suits. Don't go for them. If you're there, if you're at those rad suits, you aren't going to be in the lava that much longer. Just go. Don't try getting them, because that's where the cybers shoot. I died so much getting those rad suits until I just gave up on them. Grab it at the beginning, then ignore it. I almost fell in the lava there. It's probably a death floor. I don't know for sure. And there we go. Cool level. Alright, bye.